For centuries, adventurers and archaeologists, the devout and the determined, even Indiana Jones, have all searched for the Bible's most sacred treasure, the Ark of the Covenant.
Yet despite all its fame, it mysteriously disappeared from the pages of history.
How could something so powerful and so holy simply vanish?
This is where they claim the Ark sat.
I'll follow the trail of the Ark from the peak of Mount Sinai to the heart of Jerusalem, to the most ancient monasteries of Ethiopia. But how close can I get to this mighty and mysterious treasure? We're digging for the truth, and we're going to extremes to do it. It's one of the most famous stories in the Bible, the Israelites' 40-year exodus from Egypt to the Promised Land. This was the harsh and dangerous terrain that may have tested their religion and their resolve. Here, there were no temples for worship or prayer. So how did their faith survive? The Bible tells of an extraordinary gift from God, a sacred treasure designed to journey with them. It was perhaps the most powerful religious artifact ever imagined. The Ark of the Covenant.
Hi, I'm Josh Bernstein. The Ark of the Covenant was much more than a storage vessel for the Ten Commandments. According to the Bible, it was a powerful weapon of war and the earthly seat of God Himself.
To the Israelites, the Ark and the tablets inside it were nothing less than a direct link to God. So how could the most precious religious object in the ancient world simply disappear? Where did it go? How did it get there? And can it still be found today? Fortunately, I have the ideal guide for my quest. A book which combines both history and faith, the Holy Bible. According to the Bible, the Ark story begins at Mount Sinai. That's where the Bible says the Ark was made, and where Moses received the Ten Commandments to place inside it.
I'm at the base of Mount Sinai in Egypt. This is a place that is among the most revered sites in this holy land, a place that holds special meaning for Christians, Muslims, and Jews. A place where the Bible, quite literally, comes to life.
It was here, the Bible says, that the Ten Commandments and the Ark came into being. It's my goal to follow the biblical path of Moses up the mountain to see if any archaeological evidence remains. But first, I'm going to make a quick stop at St. Catherine's Monastery here at the foot of the mountain. It's claimed that the original burning bush, where God first revealed Himself to Moses, still grows here.
Yes.
My guide is Father Justin,
This is the 6th
who's an
century
expert on Moses and the Ark.
And the easternmost chapel.
He says this monastery was built to mark the very place where God first
This is the
appeared
6th
to
century
Moses.
Basilica. And the east is a holy place. This is the place where Moses came, the burning bush. This is also the world's oldest Orthodox monastery, with a history going back 17 centuries.
Father
I've been here 8
Justin
years.
is taking me to see the burning bush. Could this actually be the same bush where Moses heard God speak 3,000 years ago?
So, Father Justin, is this the burning bush, or is this just the same genus and species as the burning bush?
The bush is constantly renewing itself on its rootstock, so it is physically possible for a bush to live that long.
So that means that this is the burning bush, the same bush that Moses saw.
Yes.
Many
And that is
people
why
believe
the
that this
monastery
is the
is here.
exact spot where God told
And that is
Moses,
why all the monks are here.
"The ground wherein you stand is holy ground."
It was here that God revealed Himself. I am the God of Isaac. I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. But then the revelation of the law came at the peak of Sinai. It's a 3-hour climb from here. As high as the peaks are above us here, the peak of Sinai is above that.
Justin tells me that the path to the top of Mount Sinai is not for the faint of heart. That's because the mountain sits in one of the hottest deserts in the world. Daytime temperatures, 120 degrees. And the peak is 7,500 feet above sea level. I've decided to make the ascent at night. It's cooler. And to give me a head start, I'll go by camel. Riding up Mount Sinai on the back of a camel is definitely not the way Moses is said to have done it. But for me, it's a fun way to explore the high desert at night. I also learned to appreciate the sure-footedness of my four-legged friend as we climb higher and higher up the steep and narrow path. Look, it's a camel parking lot. It's, I think, maybe 5 a.m. right now, and we'll make the rest of the journey to the top on foot. This is the first step of 750. 749. These 750 steps are called the Path of Moses. With each step, I'm that much closer to what's said to have been one of the greatest encounters of all time, a meeting between Moses and the God of Israel. "2 hours by camel, another 45 by foot, and I made it to the top of Mount Sinai for the sunrise. And if you can just imagine when Moses was up here, that this whole peak was covered in smoke and fire, and you heard this deafening roar of the shofar, the ram's horn blowing, the thunder of God. It truly must have been a sight to see." The book of Exodus says it was here that the Lord gave Moses the 2 tablets of the testimony, the tablets of stone inscribed by the finger of God. Today, the biblical account is all we have to document this amazing event. And the story continues, leading directly to the moment the ark is created. It tells us that Moses climbed down the mountain carrying the 10 Commandments, according to local tradition, on the same route I'm walking now. Then, at the foot of Mount Sinai, Moses ordered his people to build a spectacular treasure chest. The instructions were precise. It was to be a box of acacia wood almost 4 feet long and just over 2 feet wide and 2 feet high, all overlaid in pure gold. But it was the treasure inside the chest that was the greatest prize of all, the Israelites' most sacred and powerful possession, the 10 Commandments. Only the Levite priests were holy enough to carry the ark. No one else dared touch it. When it wasn't being carried, the ark was placed inside a portable shrine called the tabernacle. It held the Israelites' most precious possessions. But the most sacred of them all was the ark. Hidden deep inside the tabernacle's Holy of Holies, none but the highest priest could see it. According to the Bible, the Israelites carried the ark all the way from the foot of Mount Sinai to the Promised Land, where it came to rest in Jerusalem. After so many years of wandering in the wilderness, Jerusalem offered the Israelites an opportunity to establish a home. The Bible tells us the ark was brought here by King David, the ruler who made Jerusalem the Israelites' capital city. But then its fate becomes unclear. All we know is that soon after his reign, this most holy and revered possession disappeared from both Jerusalem and the pages of the Bible. According to most biblical scholars, the Ark of the Covenant made its first appearance in Jerusalem around 1000 BC during the reign of King David.
Hi, George.
Hi.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Dr. Gabriel Barkai, an expert in biblical archaeology, is here to help me understand what happened next. So the Bible says that eventually the Ark makes its way to Jerusalem with David.
And then David's son, King Solomon, built a new royal compound which housed the Ark of the Covenant within it.
That compound was the first temple of Israel, built around 960 BC. The design of Solomon's temple was faithful to the appearance and orientation of the tabernacle which held the ark when the Israelites wandered the desert. As in the tabernacle, the temple's innermost shrine was where the ark was kept. The last time the Ark is mentioned in the Bible is just a few years before the Babylonians invaded Jerusalem and destroyed Solomon's temple. Was the Ark among the objects they looted?
We know that the holy objects from the temple were taken in captivity to Babylon, and they were given back in 538. Among them, there was no Ark of the Covenant.
But I've heard another theory, that when the Israelites learned the Babylonians were coming, they hid the Ark underground for safekeeping. Gabriel is now taking me deep beneath Jerusalem's streets to find out more.
In Jerusalem, we have burial caves, cavities, conduits. Most well-known among them is the Siloam Tunnel, or Hezekiah's Tunnel.
We're actually wading through Hezekiah's tunnel, dug by the Israelites around the time the Ark disappeared.
We have semi-legendary stories about hiding of the Holy Ark in some subterranean cavity.
Could tunnels like this have been used to conceal the Ark?
This is here Channel 3, which is an offshoot.
Gabriel says these were built solely to carry water. There's no archaeological evidence to suggest they were ever used for storing treasure. But he tells me there's a much more compelling theory for what may have happened to the Ark. In place today. Gabriel directs me to a place where he says they actually have the very object I've been searching for. And it's about the last place I'd expect to find it. Within Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the home of the Ethiopian Orthodox Christian Church. What could possibly be the connection between an ancient Hebrew artifact and an African church?
This church has the Ark of the Covenant. Turns out every Ethiopian church has the Ark of the Covenant, but they're replicas. The question is, why would over 30,000 Ethiopian churches all have a replica of the Ark of the Covenant?
I may be about to find out from the bishop himself.
This is Abuna Kostos, the Archbishop of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church in Jerusalem.
He tells me an amazing story, one that's been passed down for generations.
The Queen of Sheba heard about the wisdom of King Solomon and came all the way to Jerusalem to witness that wisdom.
While Sheba was in Jerusalem, the story goes, she and Solomon conceived a child, Prince Menelik, who lived in Ethiopia with his mother. Then, when Menelik came of age, he returned to Jerusalem to see his father. While Menelik was here, he managed to gain custody of the Ark and bring it back with him to Ethiopia. And the bishop says that's where it remains today. So, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church believes that they have the real Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia. They venerate the Ark, and that's why there's a replica in all of their churches. It also turns out northern Ethiopia is the ancient biblical land of Ophir. It's an area with strong historical ties to Judaism. I'm on a treasure hunt for one of the most precious religious artifacts in the world, the Ark of the Covenant. According to the Bible, this prized and powerful object disappeared about 2,500 years ago. My search for it has taken me from Mount Sinai, where the Bible says the Ark was made, to Jerusalem, where it was kept for about 500 years. Now I'm off to Ethiopia, where an ancient monastery may hold clues to the Ark's whereabouts today. Many Ethiopians believe the Ark was brought to their country from Jerusalem around 950 BC. I'm on the trail of the Ark of the Covenant, and it's brought me here to Ethiopia. I've arranged to meet Miskana. Miskana? Nice to meet you. Miskana is my guide and interpreter. He's taking me to one of the oldest monasteries in Ethiopia, called Debre Dama. To get there, we're traveling through the ancient biblical land of Ophir. Ethiopia is one of the oldest Christian nations in Africa, with strong historic ties to the Middle East. Could the Ark be the link between Israel and this African nation? I'm told the place we're heading for is the home of some monks who could answer that question, and many more. Debre Damo is the largest repository of ancient Christian manuscripts in Africa. It's the perfect place to learn more about whether the Ark was really brought here from Jerusalem, and maybe where it is today.
Which one's Debre Damo?
Debre Damo is there in front of us, on the top of the hill,
The mesa.
in the mesa, yeah.
That looks kind of hard to get to.
We have to drive there and then we climb by the rope, but it's very tough to reach there.
A rope? What kind of monastery would make you climb a rope to reach it? This could be a whole lot of fun. Debre Damo is about 10 miles off the main road at the end of an unpaved track. On the way, we have to cross this stream bed, which is not always possible during the rainy season. And of course, this is the rainy season. On top of that, come nightfall, the whole area will become a bandit zone.
Yes. After long drive.
Finally.
Welcome to the monastery of Debre Damo. Amazingly, it's built at the top of this sheer rock face.
Here we are, arrived. Now we have to take the rope to climb up.
I give it my best shot, but cowboy boots aren't made for toe holds like these.
There we go. That first bit, it's a little bit tough.
Few people risk the climb, maybe because it's just so embarrassing. Okay, round 2. Barefoot is definitely the way to go. For added safety, the monks are giving me a harness. That, plus the leather rope, are all I've got to pull myself up with. I begin the climb. I just can't help wondering how it is that these monks, from the very young to the very old, do this climb on a regular basis. This is nuts.
Piece of cake. Oh, I left something at the bottom. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Here we are. Mamma mia.
But we're not there yet. There's still more climbing to do. Miss Ghana explains the monastery is truly a men's club. Even the animals up here are exclusively male. The monastery itself is amazing, and its ancient books may tell me where in Ethiopia the Ark arrived on its journey from Israel. And that's what I need to continue my quest.
And here's the monastery. Here we arrived at the church, made the crossing.
The monastery is dedicated to Saint Aragawi, one of the first saints to bring Christianity to Ethiopia back in the 4th century. Since the 6th century, its monks have safeguarded some of the most precious religious manuscripts in the nation.
So it is closed. We have to wait until the priest comes.
Take off our shoes.
Yes, take off your shoes.
Just put them back on.
Yes,
Access to the library is strictly controlled. It takes the personal blessing of one of the senior priests to sanction our presence here. Stepping into this room is like stepping back in time. I'm hoping this library can take me all the way back to the days of King Solomon and the Ark.
So, Miss Ghana, if you could ask the monk, does he have any ancient manuscripts that might tell us about the Ark of the Covenant?
Our host tells us this book was written long ago by the head monk at the time.
The one who stayed in this monastery, he wrote this book, which is around the 5th century.
5th century, so
5th century.
This is 1,500 years old. That's amazing.
It's a combination of the Holy Bible and the legends of the Ethiopian Christian Church.
Let me try if there is something here in the
The book
Islam.
contains the same story I heard in Jerusalem of how the ark came to Ethiopia.
This is King Solomon gave for Menelik for his son to Ethiopia.
So the beginning of the story is in the manuscript. But what about the ending? If the ark really came to Ethiopia, then surely this ancient place must hold the secret of where. And just as this monastery houses Ethiopia's written history, I'll bet the monks here know its oral traditions too.
So, Miskana, can you ask him, where can I go from here to find out where the ark may have gone?
Maybe the monks know the next stop on the ark's journey.
ወዴት ሀገር ቢሄድ ስለ ጽላተ ሙሴ ማወቅ እችላለሁ ነው የሚሉት። የት ሀገር ሂጄ ልፈልግ ነው የሚሉት። ጣና ጨርቆስ። It's good, but I recommend you if you're going to study in Tana Cherkos.
Tana Kirkos.
Tana Kirkos.
The monks tell us the ark was taken to Tana Kirkos, a holy island to the southwest of here. In fact, they say the ark was kept there for centuries after it arrived in Ethiopia.
So good.
That's exactly what we need to know. And it's where we're going next. But there's trouble on the horizon. Remember, this is the rainy season.
So you see, we've got the storm coming in behind us. So we got to make a mad dash back down the leather rope so we can get down safely across the river before it floods and then over to Tana Kirkos. Slow going up. It's real quick. Going down.
But the climb is dangerous, and we can only go so fast. We're racing against time. With each passing second, the leather rope and the cliff face get slicker and more treacherous. Back in the vehicle, but we're still in trouble. The stream bed we crossed easily before is now a raging river. A flash flood like this can be lethal.
We have to wait until the river is less water.
How long do you think we'll be here?
Maybe we stay the whole night here.
It's getting dark, and now Miskana is worried about the bandits. We search for any kind of crossing point, but even with Miskana's knowledge of the terrain, we can't find one. The river is rising, the sun is setting, and now the bandits will be coming out. I'm on the trail of one of the world's greatest religious objects, the Lost Ark of the Covenant. My search has taken me from the Middle East, where the Bible says the Ark first appeared, to the East African nation of Ethiopia. Some learned Ethiopian monks told me about Lake Tana, where they believe the Ark was kept for centuries. But we've been stopped by a flash flood. With night and the very real threat of bandits now upon us, Miskana and I decide to risk driving across the flooded river, hopefully without stalling or floating away. We make it. Our support vehicle goes next, driving full speed over the unseen rocks.
Do not try that at home.